Tonight on NewsVision, we will bring you highlights from the third Republican debate that took place last night right here in Miami.
Be honest with the American people. This is a personal issue for every woman and every man.
Plus, we will take you to a fashion show that raised funds for pediatric cancer.
Often when I see these kids and I talk to them after the show, we really are giving them the courage and the strength to keep going.
And later on, the University of Miami is honoring first-generation college students in a special way. We will show you how.
But having an opportunity like this is a perfect opportunity for people to connect, to really have the opportunity to hear stories, that you haven't heard, people you haven't even met.
These stories and a lot more on tonight's episode of NewsVision. It starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsVision. I'm Regina Potenza.
And I'm Andrew Klein. Thank you for joining us. Tuesday was election day across the country, and although it's an off-year election, voters voiced their opinions on issues with implications for 2024 and more. The topics on the ballot range from local polls to races that will determine governorship in 2 states. In Virginia, Democrats swept the legislative elections, retaking control of the General Assembly after 2 years of divided power. And in South Florida, residents of 5 Miami-Dade cities, Miami, Miami Beach, Hialeah, Homestead, and Surfside, voted on who will represent them on city commissions, the new Miami Beach mayor, and members of the Hialeah City Council. However, voter turnout was low, with Miami at only 12.5%. And the results are the City of Miami Commission Districts 1 and 2 in a runoff, the Miami Beach Commission race in a runoff. The City of Miami Commission District re-elected Manolo Reyes, and Hialeah City Council re-elected Monica Perez.
The third Republican presidential debate took place at the Adrian Arch Center here in Miami last night. Former President Donald Trump, who is leading in the polls, has not attended any of the debates so far. And with the Iowa caucuses just 2 months away, the rest of the candidates have been trying to cut into Trump's lead. The debate focused mostly on foreign policy issues, with former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley sparring with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
You're trying to make up for it and act like you weren't a liberal when it comes to the environment. You were. You always have been. Just own it.
She welcomed them into South Carolina, gave them land near a military base, wrote the Chinese ambassador a love letter saying what a great friend they were.
The two frontrunners disagreed on abortion legislation, support for Ukraine, and fuel prices, with DeSantis saying he does not think it is a good idea for Florida to drill in the Everglades. Meanwhile, Trump held his own rally 20 minutes away from the debate in Hialeah, Florida, drawing viewers away from the Republican debate.
Here on campus, the Hanley Democracy Center hosted a watch party for students and faculty who could not snag a ticket to the debate. The Democracy Center provided water and pizza for attendees, as well as a few activities, including a bingo board to cross off every time one of the candidates mentioned certain topics.
Well, I mean, this debate's going on for a while. I'm interested to see what's going to happen in the debate, the different dynamics of the different candidates, like Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley. I know they're like neck and neck in the polls, and kind of seeing if they can maybe break out of that.
Hearing each candidate speak provided insight into many topics, including abortion, immigration, and the war in Israel.
Just one day after the New York Attorney General's office rested its case in the civil fraud trial against Donald Trump, Trump's lawyers requested a directed verdict. A directed verdict can be requested if the defense believes the evidence presented can only lead to one conclusion. However, the judge in Trump's civil case has not ruled on the request, but indicated that the trial will continue as scheduled on Monday, when Trump will take the stand as the first defense witness.
It has now officially been more than 1 month since Hamas launched an attack on Israel, killing more than 1,400 Israelis and taking hundreds hostage. Israel declared war, and as a result, some 11,000 people in Gaza have been killed. A White House official said earlier today that Israel will now hold daily 4-hour ceasefires to allow Palestinians to escape northern Gaza. The ceasefires will also allow more humanitarian aid to be brought into Gaza as residents lack food, water, and fuel. Biden says he's been asking for something like this for a while.
You know, I've been asking for a pause for a lot more than 3 days. Yes.
Did you ask him to pause for 3 days to get the hostages out for that?
Yes. I've asked for even a longer pause for some of them.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says in exchange for the ceasefire, he wants Hamas to release the hostages they've captured. Thousands of Palestinians have already fled south, and they say the north has almost nothing left.
And on the day Hamas attacked Israel, a Ukrainian couple opened an art gallery in Miami where the art reflects war. Harvey Duplac has the story.
Julia and Max Voloshin own an art gallery in Kyiv, the capital of their home, Ukraine. However, they haven't seen it in more than 2 years.
We left Ukraine before the war for business trip in October 2021. And since that, we haven't been home.
Instead, they've been living in Miami. And at the time when Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, the couple opened a pop-up art gallery where the art addressed the issues of national identity, destruction, and renaissance. And on the day Hamas attacked Israel, October 7th, 2023, they opened a new permanent gallery with a new exhibition titled No Grey Zones.
And this is about wars in general, not only about Ukrainian war, about wars in the world. And how do they usually end in?
The exhibition was co-curated by the Voloshins as well as Lila Kudelia, a Ukrainian artist who currently works at the University of Texas at Arlington. It showcases work by artists from Hungary, England, America, Israel, and Ukraine. But these artists all have one thing in common. They have experience with war.
During the early stages of Russia's invasion into Ukraine, Max and Julia Voloshin had to turn their art gallery in Kyiv into a bomb shelter. But after more than a year of it being closed and with the help of their friends and colleagues still in Ukraine, they were finally able to reopen it.
And to reopen Ukrainian gallery in Kyiv was like a big step for not only for us, for all country, that we are back, we can work, we are here. We exist and Ukraine stands.
But they also hope the reopening of the gallery can help the Ukrainian people live happier lives.
People who live in Ukraine, they can concentrate only about on war, yeah, and all thoughts only about war, yeah. They need to live normal life.
Their current exhibition ends on November 25th, with another one planned to open in early December. For UMTV, I'm Harvey Duplac.
Thank you, Harvey. And coming up on NewsVision, one local charity is making a difference for kids with pediatric cancer. Details when NewsVision returns. Stay with us.
A Florida-based charity is changing the lives of children. The nonprofit organization supports children with pediatric cancer. Over the weekend, the foundation hosted a fashion show to honor brave young warriors fighting for their dreams. Maddie Mikan has the story.
10-year-old Jalen is fighting Hodgkin's lymphoma, a cancer that impacts the body's immune system.
We took her in because she was coughing a lot, and they decided to do an x-ray, which showed a mass in her lungs. And right away they asked me to take her to the emergency room.
And Jalen is not alone. According to the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation, 43 children are diagnosed with cancer every day. 2 out of 3 survivors develop critical health conditions because of their treatments that were approved 30 years ago.
The parents will say, we almost lost him 1 or 2 times, but they kept fighting. And if we can put them on a stage and inspire that hope and inspire them to try a little bit harder and really beat this disease, that's really what we're here to do.
The National Pediatric Cancer Foundation has been helping children like Jalen for over 30 years.
She is so willing to do anything that has to do with charity and to bring awareness to cancer that she was 100% in.
Jalen was one of the participants in Saturday's Boca Fashion Funds the Cure event that the organization holds every year to raise awareness and funds for pediatric cancer research.
Only 4% of the government's funding for cancer research goes towards pediatric cancer. Cancer is the #1 cause of death by disease in children in the United States. Their treatments are toxic and life-altering.
Every child that participated in the event shared their personal story and dreams for the future.
What would you say to people who were on your plane if they were worried about turbulence?
Don't worry, it's a little bit of turbulence, baby, you'll get over it.
Watching their child be diagnosed with cancer is a parent's worst nightmare. Participating in events like that help these parents and their warriors remember that they are not alone. And Jalen is determined to not let cancer stand in the way of her dream of becoming a marine biologist.
Often when I see these kids and I talk to them after the show, we really are giving them the courage and the strength to keep going.
Reporting for UMTV, I'm Maddie Mikan.
Indigenous culture has been on display all week on the University of Miami campus. Several indigenous culture organizations pulled together to host an exhibition for one artist. UMTV reporter Daryl Barnes is live at the Flipsy building where the exhibit is on display. Daryl, what's going on over there?
Andrew, it's Indigenous Heritage Month. So in partnership with international organizations like the Mexican Consulate, the University of Miami brought in artist Jorge Dominguez Cruz for an exhibit, the exhibit that you see taking place right here. Sorry, it's a lot going on. But Jorge is the man behind the paintings that you see next to me. Look at this. They call him the Indigenous Surrealist. Just take a look at the paintings. He's self-taught from a Mayan community of less than 500 people. And you can see his work has themes rooted in his small indigenous village and their spiritual practices. I mean, just looking at it, it's colorful, it's beautiful, but it has a meaning. And that's the meaning behind all of this overall and bringing people out like Jorge for the university and for the consulate is all about promoting and exposing people to indigenous culture. Jorge speaks a language that's not even spoken very much today anymore in Tenet. And so it's just about exposing people, giving people the opportunity to see things during this Indigenous Heritage Month. But so this is going on. There's a few more minutes going on until about 8 o'clock. You have a chance to go and purchase any one of these paintings or just come and check it out for yourself here in Flipsy 502. But for now, live from the University of Miami, Daryl Barnes, UMTV.
Thank you, Daryl. After nearly 4 months of being on strike, the Actors Union has reached a tentative agreement with film and television studios to end the strike. If approved, the agreement, which was announced on Wednesday, will bring 160,000 actors back to work. The actors' strike came at the same time as the summer's writers' strike, which ended in September. For both the actors and writers' unions, the biggest issue was the rise of artificial intelligence in the industry.
Well, the strikes in Hollywood are traditionally driven by technology, and the change to streaming has really upended the business and upended the business model of Hollywood. And actors and at various levels have been suffering, as have writers and other talent.
The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers issued a statement saying that it is, quote, pleased to have reached a tentative agreement and looks forward to the industry resuming the work of telling great stories.
For any college student, starting school adds a new set of challenges. But for first-generation college students, these challenges can be even greater. Luckily, several groups on campus bring these students together and provide resources to them. Earlier this week, two campus organizations, First Gen Canes and Empower Me First, hosted a reception for first-generation students. Both organizations provide an outlet to first-gen students and help them navigate the transition and their struggles at the U. They provide personal and academic support as well as mentorship meetings, but these services are typically personal one-on-ones. So, this reception opened doors to first-gen students to discuss similar experiences they may be having.
But having an opportunity like this is a perfect opportunity for people to connect, to really have the opportunity to hear stories, that you haven't heard, people you haven't even met.
You can't tell who's first gen walking on a day-to-day on this campus, but when you have events like this, students can realize that, hey, that person they walked by yesterday is navigating a similar transition in college as they are.
First Gen Canes will be given several more opportunities to connect with people on campus just like them. Service opportunities and celebrations for graduating seniors are in the works for the spring semester, and a new program, Empower Me First Academy, will be introduced, which is specifically for first year and First Gen Canes.
Many might think recycling is easy, but in reality, because of all the rules and regulations of what you can and can't recycle and where, it is actually quite hard. That's why towns in South Florida host recycling events. Harvey Duplock attended one of them.
It's not every day that cars are lining up waiting to get to City Hall, but on Saturday, November 4th, residents of the Miami suburb of Palmetto Bay did just that in the name of recycling. The e-waste recycling drive-thru allows residents to get rid of items that cannot be recycled in a regular place, such as batteries, old electronics, paint, and even clothing. This was the third recycling drive-thru for the village and was organized by UM graduate and Palmetto Bay Resiliency Coordinator Andrea Candelaria.
I think it's extremely important, not only environmentally wise, that it doesn't end up in a landfill and it affects our drinking water eventually. A lot of these things that we offer for these services, they don't belong in a landfill.
The event had 4 different stations, one for clothes donations, another for paint and aerosol cans, a third for electronics, batteries and light bulbs, and finally an area to shred any sensitive documents. But without events like this, recycling these materials is not that simple.
So it's definitely much more difficult for them to do that. The responsibility is on them to figure out where and how they need to drop off those items.
And that's why events like these are not only important, but they're popular.
The event has become so popular that we've gone from one time a year to twice a year recycling events.
The next event will take place in early 2024. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Harvey Duplock.
Thank you again, Harvey. Well, Regina, this weekend I heard there's a big rivalry football game, and I heard you're going to be there.
I'm actually going up to Tallahassee. So excited. Are you going?
I am not going. A little bit too long of a drive for me personally, to be honest.
Oh, I'm going to sleep the whole way up. But for those staying in Miami, student meteorologist Quinn Davidson is in studio with your weekend weather forecast. Quinn?
The weekend looks absolutely spectacular here in Miami. It will be a bit hot. We are approaching record highs, but Andrew, I am with you. That drive sounds treacherous. Looking at our current temperatures right now, we're sitting at 80 degrees, very comfortable. We had a great day, and this system of high pressure right behind me is going to keep that in check. We have a very pleasant forecast for us in store this weekend, and a cold front right by my head behind me in the southeast United States. As this cold front begins its approachment towards the Florida Peninsula, that is when we can see those near record highs on Saturday. We have a lot of strong onshore flow from those eastern winds, which is going to create a very hazardous beach and boating conditions this weekend for any mariners and beachgoers. But after that near record heat is possible there at front, it's not sure. We don't know exactly where it's going to go and what time and what impacts are felt, but we are estimating rain chances should pick up by the earlier part of next week. Looking at the record high, we are forecasting 88 degrees on Saturday. The record is 89 in 2002, so definitely flirting very close to that record. Driving to Tallahassee, are ya? This drive looks to be absolutely perfect for you, Regina. We have a high pressure keeping those conditions absolutely perfect, and it's very interesting to see those temperatures cool down as you head north, and that is why I will always say South Florida stays winning. Looking at our football forecast, for that Tallahassee game, we have 77 for our tailgate. Cloudy skies as clouds begin to build. We reach 80 degrees, and by the end of the game, passing showers, those rainstorms come in, dropping to the upper 60s. Looking at our Veterans Day forecast here in Miami, it's going to be a scorcher, very warm. We're reaching again the 88-degree temperature, but it's looking to be a great time to head outside and spend time with family. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Quinn. UM is home to some 200 student athletes, and one employee at the Athletic Center knows them all. Daniel Toll explains.
The Hecht Athletic Center is the home of all things UM sports, but sometimes a person comes around that can make a place feel like home. For the Miami Hurricanes, that person is Alicia Simpson, the lobby receptionist.
I never want to see anybody have a bad day. Everybody walks through the door, I greet them. Because you never know what someone's going through when they walk through that front door, but to hear that, it may brighten their day a bit.
A typical day for Alicia consists of answering the phone, organizing mail, or working security at Canes games. But now she doubles as a celebrity on Canes social media, and it all started with one iconic quote in a video during the March Madness tournament.
They're bringing inspiration to the whole city of Dade County.
Because they're scrappy.
And they just have highlights every other play.
Because the Canes bring the energy.
Because they're good. Go Canes.
Because they're special.
Because Destiny Harding and the women's team are monsters. Because it's the Canes, baby!
This small soundbite has since turned into a social media phenomenon with multiple reposts and hundreds of likes, and it even inspired a hoodie giveaway at a Canes volleyball game.
I said, if there was one giveaway that I want to do, I think it has to be this, and it has to be at volleyball, and a quote like that is really something that, stands out to people. It's something that, it's a moniker that people can use all around campus.
Fans will notice me. It's like, I saw you on social media. It's the Canes, baby. Out of nowhere, you was like, you're famous. Yeah, I know, I got it. Yeah, it's me, yeah.
If people didn't know Alicia then, they did after that quote. And her quote made a reappearance in a special way at last year's Hurricane Honors Award ceremony. Alicia was presented with the Unsung Hero Award, the only award given not to an athlete, but to a staff member.
By far, that was when the room erupted the most, and it was because of Miss Alicia. And if that doesn't showcase the love and appreciation that her student athletes have for her, I don't know what does.
I do what I do. I don't look for recognition. I just do what I do. Getting that award was a plus, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful.
Simpson's eyes will be glued to the television screen Saturday night as Miami heads up to Tallahassee to take on rival Florida State. More on that matchup after a short break. Stay with us.
Observe a domesticated human family in their natural habitat, known to their species as the backyard.
Hey, you think I should light it now?
I think it's good.
Yeah?
Oh dear, someone is about to burn a pile of debris that's too tall, which can start a wildfire. Wait, could it be? Blimey, it is.
It's Smokey.
It's Smokey Bear. What a legend.
Hey, it's Smokey. Sorry, it was too high. Right.
Watch as he astutely ensures that there's no wind, and how he removes some of the debris to create a smaller, safer burning pile.
You said make it bigger.
No, you said make it bigger, baby. The bigger, the better.
Take note of our fearless furry friend here, humans.
I appreciate it. Fist bump.
Watching you.
Smokey's done it again.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome to sports. I'm Wyatt Kopelman. Rivalry week is here for the Miami Hurricanes as they go to Tallahassee Saturday to take on Florida State. But first, Miami went on the road to take on NC State. Let's go up there to see the highlights. Now, Miami certainly needed a win on the road in the ACC, lost to a 10th-ranked North Carolina team, but would have to play from behind in that first half. Jordan Poole getting a 12-yard feed from MJ Morris, the NC State quarterback, and NC State kept the pressure on as well. Andres Borregales, Miami's starting kicker, had an answer. Hardly a chip shot at this point in the season, a 27-yard attempt. That one right through the middle. Tyler Van Dyke, meanwhile, the former ACC Rookie of the Year, having trouble getting his offense going against a very tough NC State defense. Sacked 3 times in this game. Meanwhile, Morris and the Wolfpack continue to cruise. Kendrick Raphael getting off of some tackles. Miami had no answer on the defensive side. NC State wins this one at 20-6. Now, Miami's loss to the Wolfpack was its 3rd in the ACC this season, but now the Hurricanes focus on beating Florida State this Saturday. Head coach Mario Cristobal says keeping a consistent intensity in practices has been the team's priority this week.
You've got to be able to win your Monday, Tuesday, your Monday through Friday, right? Because your practice and preparation is going to end up being your game reality. And then come game time, making sure that that practice and preparation makes its way onto the field in the form of high-level execution, and in the form of making sure that you're not creating your own turnovers.
And as Miami prepares for the latest game of its 72-year-old matchup, the Canes hope to end a 2-game losing streak in this series. Earlier this week, freshmen Mark Fletcher and Ruben Bain each said they grew up watching the matchups and now share excitement for Saturday. Zach Macer is live all the way in Tallahassee with the latest on what many say to be Miami's biggest game of the season. Zach, what can you share?
Wyatt, it's just under 25 hours before the Hurricanes take on rival FSU right behind me at Doak Campbell Stadium. However, there's nervous anticipation for the Hurricanes because of the quarterback position. That's because head coach Mario Cristobal and offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson did not give as to who will be starting Saturday for the Hurricanes. They told the media, quote, "Everything is on the table." Now, that doesn't give normal starting quarterback Tyler Van Dyke a lot of confidence, especially after he threw 3 interceptions, as well as a quarterback rating of 29.8 in the loss against NC State last Saturday of a score of 20-6. On the flip side of that, FSU is having great quarterback success with redshirt senior Jordan Travis. Travis has thrown for just under 2,500 yards this season, as well as 19 touchdowns. Now, the Canes fans will give their best effort at Doak Campbell, including the 70 students that are coming from Category 5, the Student Spirit Group for the University of Miami. However, with thousands packed into Doak Campbell supporting the Noles, it's going to be hard for the Canes to pull out a win in Tallahassee. Zach Macer, UMTV.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Hurricanes football has just 4 more games this season with a bowl game in sight, but men's basketball is just tipping off as it won its season opener Monday night. The Hurricanes started their season with a 101-60 win against New Jersey Institute of Technology here in Coral Gables. Miami guard Matthew Cleveland and forward Norchad O'Meara each finished with a double-double as the 13th-ranked Canes return home to face Central Florida tomorrow at 7 o'clock. After the game, head coach Jim Larrañaga said he believed it was a very good start to Miami's new season. With its first game of the season done, Miami looks to win its first national championship. And for Hurricanes guard Bensley Joseph, it brings him the chance to make the most of a new role nearly 1,500 miles from home.
On the second side, that's where his game is developed.
Right on the money! Ever since the start of his freshman year, Hurricanes guard Bensley Joseph has brought a vocal presence to the court and has learned how to lead from older teammates. And after Miami's first ever trip to the Final Four, Joseph is now set to step up this season.
From the older guys I've played with, every message, just little details that I'd see them do and just trying to embrace it into what I'm doing into the younger guys.
We're an extension of the coach on the team, and him growing in his leadership role kind of makes my job easier, especially with a guy with an IQ like that who knows how to play the game the right way. When he says something, he usually says the right thing almost all the time, and it helps the team get better.
For Joseph, playing college basketball has become more than a growing experience. He was born in Miami before moving to Arlington, Massachusetts 8 months later. And while he has lived in the Northeast for most of his life, it's the experience of helping 13th-year head coach Jim Larrañaga to his most successful season that has made Joseph appreciate how finding a sense of belonging can happen anywhere.
I feel like Coach L has always built a family system here in Miami, and it's been helping us succeed in the past 2 years. So just continuing to uplift those younger guys, I feel like it'll be a huge help.
Becoming a leader for a Hurricanes team that now looks to win a national championship requires courage and trust. And applying past learning experiences while being at Miami the longest has given Joseph the confidence to lead others.
He's very comfortable in his own skin and speaking up. So he's constantly communicating verbally in a very strong voice, like a leader should.
But what Joseph looks forward to the most is just seeing how the Hurricanes can play with the same level of togetherness, as he now uses his same voice he's always had with the respect his teammates give him.
The guys that made the run last year, we just, want to build off of what we did, but we know that it takes a lot of, steps, and it's not going to just come in one day or one night.
That was sports anchor Wyatt Kopelman reporting. Still ahead tonight, we'll tell you more about one project NewsVision just wrapped up covering in South Florida as the national park celebrates its 75th anniversary. We'll be back shortly.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
A Pelican Hospital in Miami takes in more than just pelicans. The hospital also rehabilitates gulls and mammals. The Pelican Harbor Seabird Station at Pelican Harbor Marina treats thousands of animals each year. But despite the name, they offer care to a variety of animals, including shorebirds, squirrels, possums, and owls. They rescue, rehabilitate, and release animals with a variety of injuries. And they emphasize the importance of protecting wildlife.
We see a lot of cat attacks, being hit by car, fishing line, and hook injuries. So not only just kind of spreading the word about what we do here, but helping to educate others about what they can do at home to hopefully prevent injury from happening at all.
Hospital is a nonprofit and is currently participating in the annual Give Miami Day on November 16th. Although the hospital does not take domestic animals, they urge the public to reach out to them if you find any injured animal.
And finally, the Everglades National Park has been celebrating its 75th anniversary this year, and our team here at NewsVision had the unforgettable opportunity to dig deeper into the history and the significance of the wetlands. This project has been in the works for months, with our former executive producer Embrick Isles working tirelessly to perfect it. We will premiere the hour-long production at an official screening at the Cosford Cinema at 7:30 on Wednesday night. The entrance is free, so mark your calendars.
Well, that seems like a great show, and I'll definitely be having to check out that screening.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this screening of NewsVision. Have a great night.